The certified letter demanding $250,000 arrived on the same day I buried my father, the man who taught me everything about integrity, hard work, and standing your ground. I stood in my driveway, still wearing my funeral suit, red cemetery dirt clinging to my shoes, the metallic taste of rage building in my mouth as I read the notice. They claimed I owed a fortune for property violations on land my grandfather bought in 1952, long before the neighborhood around me even existed. And that's when these power-hungry HOA board members made the biggest mistake of their lives. She came across the street like a storm in heels. Karen Whitmore, HOA president, former pharmaceutical sales rep, and self-proclaimed guardian of suburban perfection. She wore a designer black dress, her perfume cutting through the diesel fumes of a passing garbage truck. Fake sympathy dripped from her lips. "Timing's unfortunate, Marcus," she purred, handing me papers that could destroy everything 3 generations of my family had built. What she didn't know? I wasn't just fighting for my workshop. I was about to discover I legally owned half her precious neighborhood. My name is Marcus Castellano. I'm 42, a 3rd-generation contractor, and this land isn't just property, it's legacy. My grandfather Antonio bought 3 acres in 1952 for $800 cash. Back then, cornfields and cow pastures stretched as far as the eye could see. The house is modest, a 1,200-square-foot ranch that's seen better days, but still stands solid as granite. What really matters is the workshop. That's where the hum of my welding torch meets the crunch of gravel under steel-toed boots, where I carry on traditions stretching back 70 years. After a messy divorce, that workshop became my sanctuary, and my daughter Emma's. She's 16 now, and every other weekend she comes over to learn how to use the same tools my grandfather taught my father on, and my father taught me. Watching her weld, laugh, grow, it's where I feel closest to my roots. And when Karen came after it, she wasn't just attacking a building. She was attacking everything I stood for. Karen Whitmore wasn't just a neighbor. She was a force, of nature in a power suit, 5'6" in heels, aggressively blonde, radiating the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. She reinvented herself as a community leader after moving into Willowbrook Estates 8 years ago. Her home? A 4,200-square-foot colonial with an imported Italian fountain that probably cost more than my truck. She became HOA president, not through service, but through social manipulation, proxy votes, and what I can only describe as weaponized passive aggression. She's the type who smiles while stabbing you in the back, then acts shocked when you bleed on her carpet. My family's land predates the entire development by over half a century. Until 2003, we were still surrounded by farmland. Then Hartwell Properties bought 200 acres and built a 47-home subdivision, literally around us. They offered my grandfather $400,000 to sell. He refused. The land passed to my father, then to me. But as the neighborhood grew, so did their hostility. They called my workshop an eyesore, complained about 6 a.m. work starts, allowed by city ordinance, and demanded I hide my tools behind fences. Karen claimed I was lowering property values. Translation? She didn't like that we were here first. The harassment started small, noise complaints, inspections, passive-aggressive notes. Then it escalated. 6 city inspections in 3 months. All came back clean, but Karen wasn't done. The final straw? That $250,000 fine for unauthorized structures and environmental violations. The timing couldn't have been more cruel, delivered the morning I buried my father. While I was processing the reality that the man who taught me everything was gone, she was printing legal threats like a harassment assembly line. While Karen thought she was winning, I was doing something revolutionary, actual research. Buried in my father's filing cabinet, where he kept receipts from 1975, I found the original 1952 deed. Not a copy, the real thing. My grandfather's signature, the county seal, all intact. Here's what Karen didn't know. HOA covenants only bind those who sign them. My grandfather never signed an HOA agreement because there was no HOA in 1952. Our property deed predates her entire world by 51 years. I could feel my father's presence in that moment, his old spice lingering in the air, as I realized Karen had made her first fatal legal mistake. But she wasn't done. She organized a safety meeting at the clubhouse titled Protecting Our Community Values. She posted photos of my equipment online with captions like Industrial Hazard in Residential Zone and Property Values at Risk. She recruited allies, Dr. Lucas, concerned about air quality, Susan Reeves, worried about child safety, Tom Morrison, the banker, fretting over mortgages, and she used dog whistles I recognized all too well. Undesirable elements, family-friendly neighborhood. She was building a mob, and I was the scapegoat. So I showed up to the next HOA meeting with my surveyor friend Jake and a stack of documents. I laid out the truth. The board, clearly coached, voted 4-1 to fine me anyway. That's when I said, Karen, you might want to double-check your legal position before this gets expensive for everyone involved. While she thought she was intimidating me, I was quietly building a case. I installed security cameras. I documented every false claim. I hired Rebecca Santos, a property rights attorney who specialized in taking down HOA overreach. Her first words? Document everything, trust nothing, and never let them see you sweat. So I did. I filed counter complaints. I stayed calm, and I started digging deeper into county records, old plat maps, water rights agreements. What I found was explosive. The original 2003 subdivision survey had a critical error. It included 0.3 acres of my land. 12 homes were partially built on my property. The HOA clubhouse, on my land, the community playground, entirely on my tax-paid soil. And the kicker? A 1953 agreement gave my grandfather exclusive rights to the natural spring that fed the entire neighborhood. Every drop of water in their lawns, their ponds, even Karen's fountain, came from my land. She'd been stealing my water for years. I stayed silent, let her think she was winning. I commissioned a professional survey. GPS confirmed every encroachment. I built a team, Rebecca for law, Jake for surveying, Elena the accountant to calculate damages, Dave the contractor to document my operations, and Sarah the environmental expert to prove my water was clean. We weren't just defending, we were preparing for war. Karen escalated. She reported me to the health department, fire department, zoning, even the EPA. Inspectors came, all found nothing. But she accused them of corruption and demanded more. Then she went to the news, painting herself as a hero. I invited the reporter in. Calm, prepared. I showed the deed, the permits, the timeline of harassment, the story that aired. Not dangerous contractor, but HOA overreach versus property rights. Karen lost her mind, demanding retractions. Then, I found the financial records. The HOA had spent $47,000, homeowner money, on legal fees to attack me. Most neighbors had no idea. When they found out, questions turned to outrage. And then, the final twist. Karen hadn't lived in the neighborhood long enough to be president. The bylaws required 10 years. She had 8. Her entire presidency? Invalid. Every vote, every fine, every action, legally void. The title search confirmed it all. Hartwell Properties never secured easements for road access. The entire neighborhood drove over my land to get home. The main entrance, the streets, the HOA pool, all on my property. I held the power to shut down their access, their water, their entire way of life. Rebecca said, Marcus, you don't just have rights. You can shut this whole place down. Karen called an emergency meeting, begging for reasonable compromise. She offered $75,000 for easement rights, less than 10% of their actual value. Too late. Her husband was caught on camera slashing my tires and spray painting "Move" on my workshop. He was arrested. She claimed he was investigating noise violations. The police called it weapons-grade stupid. Then came the attempted bribery. She offered $10,000 to a city councilman to condemn my property. He reported her. The story exploded. Then an anonymous tip revealed she'd been fired from her old job for falsifying records, a liar leading a crusade for integrity. The neighborhood turned, petitions for her resignation, neighbors refusing to pay more fees. Her support collapsed. She hired a PI to stalk me. Then she tried to frame me, dumping construction waste on my land in the middle of the night. Her ally Tom Morrison drove the truck. He confessed in hours. She created fake online reviews, flooded my phone with scam calls, and called my clients with lies. But every lie added to Rebecca's defamation case. The final blow? Insurance companies started canceling policies due to title disputes. Property values plummeted. The very thing she claimed to protect, home values, was destroyed by her own actions. Families stopped speaking. Friendships ended. The block party was canceled. And still, she fought. So I hosted a barbecue. No drama, just food, honesty, and an offer. Fair easement agreements, legal water rights, a path forward. 18 families came. They saw the truth. I wasn't the enemy. She was. The town hall meeting was packed. Reporters, cameras, the mayor presiding. Karen went first. Desperate, shrill, repeating debunked lies. Then I stood. I showed the deed, the surveys, the water rights, the harassment timeline. I played the footage of her husband. I showed the financial waste. And then I dropped the bomb. I could shut off your water. I could force you to move your homes. But I won't. I'm offering a solution. The room erupted in applause. Karen screamed about conspiracies. Security had to remove her. The next day, she was front-page news, not as a hero, but as a cautionary tale. The settlement was fair. The HOA paid $85,000 for easements and water rights. Boundaries were corrected, titles cleared. Karen was convicted of filing false environmental reports, probation, fines, community service. Her husband divorced her. She sold her house at a loss and vanished. Her fountain? Torn out by the new owners. The new HOA board invited me to join as an advisor. We revived the neighborhood barbecue in my backyard. Emma grilled burgers. Kids. Played where Karen once demanded demolition. My business grew. I started speaking about property rights. I launched a fund to help others fight HOA abuse. 3 generations of Castellanos have held this land, through war, recession, and one suburban tyrant. We didn't win with rage. We won with patience, proof, and principle. And every evening when I stand in my grandfather's workshop, I know we didn't just save our legacy. We protected the idea that no title, no bully, no Karen can erase what's truly yours.